On a créé Bon Karma tout d'abord pour se créer un espace de travail qui nous correspond et qui correspond à ces travailleurs.
So I always kind of prefer being freelancing and doing my own thing. And I think that's where we, you know, not saying that my colleagues are the same, but we all kind of have this in common that we like to be somewhat in control of our work.
A big advantage that like large corporations have is that there's just so many practitioners and executives that like share best practices with like their lawyers and accountants and like corporate finance and all that stuff. We definitely need to be like more connected as as a cooperative community.
So we come from the video game industry and academia, and both of them are known for very high burnout rates and very poor treatment of workers. And so I think that also especially spurred the want to do something different.
I have never felt like I'm doing more meaningful work under better working conditions than I do right now working with the co-op.
This expectation that when you start a new business that that your value is profit, and like so much of what we do is like fighting against these predetermined expectations. So if we didn't have to fight, we would be able to do so much more, I think.
In March 2022, SEES started mapping worker cooperatives in Montreal's information technology sector. Today, we know that around 100 workers generate $7 million in annual revenues among 15 cooperatives on the island. This is why SEES investigated these worker-led companies that are doing things differently, reversing the balance of power and using technology for the good of their communities. For SEES, I talked to 6 cooperative members to better understand their reality, challenges, and ambitions. Here are some examples of what they shared with me.
C'est un secteur qui a parfois des conditions de travail qui sont remises en question, qui sont assez dures, surtout quand on démarre ou surtout quand on est plus jeune ou quand on est plus dans un statut d'employé. Et donc, des entreprises qui ont des statuts très classiques et des façons de gérer hiérarchiques assez classiques. Et donc, on vient quand même pas mal remettre en question et pas mal amener du mouvement et de l'innovation dans ce secteur-là en particulier, au niveau des heures travaillées, au niveau de la reconnaissance de ces heures travaillées, au niveau de comment on se côtoie les uns les autres, comment on travaille ensemble les uns les autres. Donc tout ça fait que ça va vraiment, on trouve, donner un signal fort qu'on peut travailler autrement même dans ce secteur-là. Et que du coup, c'est important de commencer à réfléchir à quels sont les modèles de gestion qu'on peut avoir, les modèles de coopération qu'on peut avoir, et puis de se lancer là-dedans et puis de pouvoir inspirer d'autres dans ce même parcours.
One thing I think is really cool is that because there aren't a lot of them, it's a community, right? It's very supportive in the way where like I felt being in a studio, you're kind of like in competition against other studios in a traditional model. In a co-op model, you're like, oh, all the co-ops, we're like friends and we want to support each other and we want everyone to succeed.
I think that's one of the great things about the principles of like cooperatives in general is that supporting other cooperatives is built into those values and those suggested values, I guess. I think another cool thing is that we get to model exactly the kind of work environment that we would want to work in an equitable way with no boss at the top who is profiting from all the labor. We all get to profit from our own labor and make decisions about the conditions under which we do that labor. So that's really special to me.
The fact that we co-own this studio and the work we produce is a huge deal to me. Before this, it was either like I worked for a studio and did not own any of what I produced, or I made things completely by myself and I owned everything, but I didn't share that with anyone and I didn't get to benefit from other people's skill sets as much. So now, I never wanted to be in the position where like I own everything and then everybody works for me. That's not very much fun and it's a lot of pressure. And so being able to share ownership of both this company and what we produce is a huge deal to me.
We're a co-op of 5 people, and we're handling a lot of data and doing these fairly complex systems. It wouldn't be possible if we weren't cooperating, working with a lot of other service providers and with a lot of clients who have a common requirements. Writing code and testing and making it reliable and assuming the costs behind that can be fairly expensive. And so the way we, and we're competing with solutions like Microsoft Dynamics or Salesforce, which are these gigantic structures with billions of dollars behind them. Who are we, five guys working from home? Guys and girls. Who are we, working from home and competing with these huge multinationals? And I think that the way we do it is by mutualization, by getting our clients to either participate in the funding of some new features, or by getting a few companies, a few organizations together and funding it that way.
We kind of have a more equal representation for our restaurants because the restaurants are owners of the platform. Like they're literally on the board. They have access to like all the data. There's no preference. Like drivers don't get a preference over, one chain versus another restaurant, right? And I think that's like the biggest effect long term. Like there's obviously like short term effects. Like we have a better delivery quality and we have a much cheaper commission than the other platforms. But I think that's the biggest thing down the line is like keeping control of their business.
The report, Getting Our Tech Together, is available at www.solidarityEconomy.ca in both English and French. You can also find the full interviews on CUTV's Montreal's YouTube channel. On behalf of SEAS, we hope that you enjoyed the report. Please get in touch if you'd like to discuss tech co-ops with us.